From KUNC and the NPR network, this is In The NoCo. I'm Erin O'Toole. Unless you have nothing but cacti in your yard, your plants and garden are gonna need extra help this summer. In addition to the heat, your plants will have to cope with less moisture than usual. While the snow this week was great, it won't be enough to compensate for our very dry winter. So our guest today is here with tips to help and to explain the science behind keeping plants healthy in a dry year. Deryn Davidson is a sustainable landscape specialist with CSU Extension. She answers all kinds of questions about native and drought-tolerant plants and xeriscaping. And she sees this moment as an opportunity to rethink how we choose to landscape in our arid climate. I spoke with Deryn last month in an onstage interview at In The NoCo's first live episode taping on the CSU campus. Here's that conversation. Hi, nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
So, Deryn, trees are hurting, lawns are thirsty. How are people's gardens doing so far?
Yeah, well, because it's been a weird year, things are waking up early, of course. So plants are waking up. We're seeing things budding out and growing early, but then, of course, also we don't have a lot of water, and so things are crispy. So how are people's gardens? I don't know, but generally speaking, people are kind of panicking. They're not turning on their water yet. We're not getting natural precipitation, so.
Right. Well, I know you help answer questions for people who want to plant drought-tolerant plants in their garden or even replace their lawns with a xeriscaped yard. What steps do you recommend right now for people who want to get started doing this with their landscaping?
Yeah, this year, we can certainly still garden this year, but it might be a good year to plan ahead, be thinking about if you do want to do a conversion, change your landscape up. Now is a good time to plan. Maybe think about fall planting instead of spring planting, again, because of those water restrictions. Yeah. As a landscape architect, I'm always thinking about what is the design going to be? How are we going to, create our space and choose our plants? Yeah. And now is a great time to maybe instead of diving in head first, think it through, take that time to plan.
Okay, start kind of sketching out maybe what you want on a piece of paper even, starting there. Okay. You recommend homeowners use mulch during times like this to help their gardens use less water. Talk about why mulch is kind of a secret weapon in helping plants thrive in a dry climate.
Yeah, so mulch is a great thing to do in your garden for lots of reasons. It helps, so essentially you're laying a nice thick layer of either wood chip, wood bark, wood mulch, or gravel mulch works too. And you're essentially putting down a nice thick layer. It's going to help with some weed suppression if you have it thick enough. A nice 4-inch layer is going to help with weed suppression.
Oh, that thick. Okay.
Yep, nice and thick. Okay. But then it also is going to hold moisture in the soil. And so it's basically like putting a nice blanket over the soil, and the soil's going to be able to retain that moisture that either we get naturally or you put down with your irrigation system.
You have also talked about prioritizing the plants. So if we're going to water less, who gets the water?
Yeah, that's a good question. And this year we definitely want to prioritize plants. So trees, we definitely want to prioritize them. If we have turf grass or perennials and annuals, those are much easier to replace than a good mature tree. If you have a tree that was recently planted in the last year or two, you're definitely going to want to prioritize that. Okay. So I definitely look to trees, either new trees or mature trees, and then start to sort of stair-step down. Water your shrubs, keep those in place, and then move to perennials and turf.
Okay, got it. I mean, I'm just going to go in height order.
Yeah, it kind of works that way.
Yeah. We can most likely count on a hot summer this year. I know there are rumblings of an El Nino, so maybe we'll get rain, but it won't be till later in the summer. What are a few of your favorite plants that you like to recommend that can tolerate the heat and drought, but will also still look great?
Yeah, so definitely looking at some shrubs. So I talk a lot about native and adapted plants because they're going to tend to use less water. So things like I love lead plant. That's a good one. It's a legume, so it fixes nitrogen.
Okay.
It has really pretty purple flowers with orange pollen.
That's the one that's kind of stalky and it's purple.
Yep,
okay.
Exactly. Fern bush is another really good one. Drought tolerant. It doesn't look like lilac, but the flowers are sort of in the shape of a lilac, white. Butterflies love that one.
Okay.
Mock orange is another one. That takes a little extra water, but it smells, if you know what a citrus smells like, the flowers smell like that, so I really like that one. So those are some shrubs.
Okay.
If we look at some perennials, there are loads of excellent native and adapted perennials. If we think about things like agastache, that's a really good one for hummingbirds, very drought tolerant. Salvias, coneflowers, you name it, there are tons. Chocolate flower, that's a fun one. Actually smells like a milk chocolate Hershey bar.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to have.
Does it just naturally do that, or did someone breed it to do that?
I think it just naturally does that.
Amazing. Well, it's one thing to kind of hear your advice for other people. What are you doing differently in your garden this year, kind of based on weather and everything?
Yeah, well, the same thing as everybody else, sort of waiting and seeing, right? We have to see what happens. There's a chance we'll still get a cold snap. There's a chance we'll get some rain and precipitation, but just, knock on wood, just really paying attention, making sure irrigation systems are ready to go. Not going to be planting a ton of plants, but certainly where I have gaps, can still plant them and just water judiciously. So it's kind of a wait and see year, but still, it's still fine to garden and to be out there and playing with your plants.
You also advise people on using rain barrels. And, these collect rainwater that falls off your roof. What tips do you have for people to get started using one who have never done that?
Yeah, so rainwater harvesting is it's kind of fun. It is, as of 2016, it became legal in the state of Colorado.
Right.
It was not legal before that. So we can have up to 110 gallons of storage space at any given time.
Okay.
So that's generally two 55-gallon barrels.
Okay.
So you can get your barrel, you attach it to your downspout, and if we do get precipitation, they'll actually fill up quite quickly. So some people think, if it's not raining, what good is this going to do? But we really can actually capture quite a bit of water, even in not very large of a rainstorm. And then you have that water on hand to put in your garden when you're ready to, rather than immediately.
Okay, that sounds easy. All right, well, lastly, I have always heard Mother's Day is the time, that's the date you want to get out and start gardening. Is that still the case in a year like this?
Yeah, we still want to stick with that Mother's Day time frame, even though, we had 90-degree days in March, and so people were thinking, oh, maybe winter is over. It's Colorado. There's always a chance we'll get a cold snap, and you don't want to risk it.
All right. Deryn, this has been so enlightening. Deryn, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Advice for gardens and plants in a dry, hot year. If you found Deryn's advice useful, check out our conversation with Allison O'Connor. She's a turf expert for CSU Extension who also spoke with me during that live In The NoCo taping. We'll put a link to Allison's interview in our show notes and at kunc.org. We'll have more advice on plants and landscaping in a tough year throughout the month. Follow In The NoCo for free on your favorite podcast app so you won't miss an episode. That's it today for In The NoCo. I'm Erin O'Toole. Thanks so much for listening.